This is the Grow Business Podcast with Cory Mosley. Don't mind me. I'm trying to get my tea right.
Trying to cool off your tea in the hot cup.
Hey, should be slurping in front of.
Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy. We got to get that one, Willie. We got to get that one, Willie T. Hey, everybody. This is the Grow Business Podcast. I am your host, Cory Mosley. I'm joined by my co-host, riding shotgun, as he said earlier, LG007, the one and only Lon Graham. Lon, how are you? Woo! All right, that's we got.
It's good to be here, Cory. It's good to see you.
Yeah, and as always, we've got Willie H is here. Oh, we got the. I think once you hit 10 episodes,
Right
now, you know what it reminds me of. And I know I said we got a short one today for you just because we're running on time. But stories just pop up and you have to tell them. Right. It reminds me of when you watch a show. So what happens a lot of times in network television, right, is give you a pilot order. Right. If you ever watch a pilot order for the average show, it's marginal at best, like in terms of, because they don't have any money, right? They haven't gotten the money from the network. They haven't gotten the green light, so it's self-financing or whoever. Right. Now, I'm sure the pilot for NCIS had a lot of money behind it, but like your average show. And then once they get the order, you know, they get the goal is to get the first set of orders, and then what they call the back 9 episodes, right? So if you have a 23 episode season, you know, you get your first kind of 13, and then your goal is to get picked up. For the back. And then if you watch those shows, you'll see like season 2, if they get picked up, you'll see more things that indicate they have more dollars or they have more resources coming. Sure. And now it's got the fancy opening, or they've added more people, or the set, you know, they've redone the sets and everything. So that's what I feel like. We've hit 10. We're trying to get our back half ordered. Which I don't know who would be ordering that, but us. I guess the listeners are determining if we keep going, what we keep doing. And we're getting a lot of positive feedback. You've got friends reaching out to you on LinkedIn and people being impacted, you know, by what we're doing. Obviously, we want to have fun. We want to educate, edutainment. We want to do all that. But at the end of the day, we want to fulfill the mission, which is that right there, right?
Well, I think.
All right, now he's getting a little loosey-goosey with the...
Right. Well, I think we've given William more to work with.
Yeah, is that what it is?
10 episodes, we've given him some things to work with.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm good with that.
We have our own... Yeah, so now it's just going to be, is he coming in at the right time? You know, that's going to be the key for all of this.
Full confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, I'm happy to be... Willie H, happy to be here with you. Lon, happy to be here with you for another episode
Good to be here,
as we continue on this mission.
100%.
You know, as usual, I like to keep Lon in a little bit of suspense because that's one of the benefits here, is not knowing exactly what we're going to talk about. Now, in all fairness, and well, not fairness, but full disclosure, I did tell Lon maybe about 3 hours ago when he said, hey, just any idea on what the topic is going to be? And I said, well, I'm not completely sure, but I think we're going to talk about mental toughness today.
Right.
And I think it's good timing. Where we are in the year right now, getting ready to move into 2024. I think it's good timing because there's a lot of people coming out of some stuff.
Right.
There's a lot of people that are going to be going through some stuff.
Right.
And there's some people that are going to be going through some stuff that they don't even know about yet.
Right.
Right. Jim Rohn, I've heard you know, we've talked Jim Rohn before, talked about the seasons. Right.
That's right.
Because we go through seasons of life, we go through seasons of business. And, you know, this is a tough gig, entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
It's a really tough gig. And, you know, in a social media world, it's very easy to get caught up in what we perceive as someone else's great success. You know, what we just peruse an Instagram feed.
Right.
And you'll see the abundance of, you know, lying going on out here in terms of creating that world. Now, people can argue, what I've learned, one of the things I've learned in life is that you can position a topic, like being someone from communications, PR, and in that living in that communications world, you can put push a topic any way you want, right?
100%,
so some people say, you know, we want to. I'm doing that, Cory, because I want to keep people motivated out there. You know, I'm renting the Ferrari for the weekend so I can take a bunch of pictures in it to keep other people motivated out there.
Right.
So, you know, there's just different realities because most people don't tell the whole story,
right,
you know, online.
Right.
So I thought it was a good topic to talk about because as much as sales and marketing, we were talking about websites and funnels and all these great things, which are valuable in the grand scheme of things. My number one pillar, when I talk about 5 pillars business growth, is mindset.
Right.
And this falls smack, and a conversation about mental toughness falls smack dab into that.
Well, you know, you talked about timing as we go into, you know, transition into a new year, the holidays. The holidays are tough for people anyway, because there's so much pressure, whether it be, like you said, to keep up with what you see somebody else keeping up with, or what the kids are trying to deal with in school and trying to compare with their friends. If you have kids, if you're, you know, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, a lot of times there's funding that you're trying to capture at the end of the year to set yourself up for the new year.
Sure.
There's lots of pressures that are associated with the holidays and going into a new year. And so you've got to prepare yourself for that. And you've got to have some things that you're willing to do for yourself and some people that can contribute to the way that you think about things. And we'll get into that, but it's important for sure. It's
100%. You know, this David Arnold was a comedian that we lost this past year. Oddly, surprisingly, it wasn't. He had just like taken delivery of his dream car, so I don't think it's certainly planned. R.I.P. to David Arnold. But you know, one of his comedic lines was, "It ain't for the weak."
Right.
Right. Yeah, that was what he said. It ain't for the weak, and that is the case. True. You know, that is the case here.
Yeah.
And many people, I commend trying, I commend efforts, I commend these things. And it's important to understand all the different sides, right? You know, particularly when you talk about startups and you talk about some of these different challenges, because there's always some problem to be solved.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that like to, you know, stay in the safety net, you know, in a certain way, and then dip their toe in the water a little bit. We might refer to this as side hustles, or we refer to this as other different things. But to burn the ships, as they say, is one of those tough things. So first and foremost, if you're listening to this or watching us on YouTube, I want to commend everyone's efforts, you know, to make their way. Now, what I also love though is I get a little pushback in the entrepreneurship community, I guess, when I say that everybody's not supposed to do their own thing.
That's so true. 100%.
Because there are some people who accept. Charlie Munger just passed.
Right. Yes.
It's a very good example. Now, it's a billionaire example.
Right.
But Charlie Munger, for those who don't know, for basically 40 years, was the quote unquote number 2 guy to, of course, a name. While you haven't heard Charlie Munger, you probably have heard the name Warren Buffett.
Right. Oracle of Omaha.
The Oracle of Omaha. Most people, you know, goes and gets his McDonald's sandwich in the morning, drinks a Coca-Cola every day. Is in his 90s, I believe. But his number 2 person was Charlie Munger, who was very rich, had access to anything he wanted. I mean, they both live very standard lives, so to speak. I don't know. There's probably a jet or two somewhere in there, some extravagance. That was a necessary thing. But by and large, if you read or study about any of them, had access to everything. Just wasn't the guy on the front of the letterhead, so to speak. But was prolific, was brilliant, was all of these things. And again, working inside of a corporation, he also wasn't an independent. It's not like he was a contractor. It was like, hey, I'm an advisor and I'm just hanging out here doing my thing. So he built a tremendous business, amassed tremendous wealth inside an organization, inside a company.
He distinguished himself and created his own brand,
Right. Sure.
within the umbrella of a
Correct.
bigger organization.
He didn't have to be Charlie Munger and Associates.
Correct.
To fulfill whatever dream he has. And that is I'll debate this with anybody, because, there's all the, I love acronyms like the next guy, but, a job is just over broke, it's this, that, and the other, and all these different things, which is cool when you're trying to convince somebody, when you're trying to deliver that message, like if you're in the business of maybe helping people start businesses, or you've got a course or something on that topic. I'm not knocking anything, I'm just talking reality. Then that's more compelling, right?
Right.
So if you were in multi-level marketing, I knew the signals. This is how we get off the rails, and I know we're pressed for time today. But if someone asked me in the grocery store, what's a good orange juice?
Right.
I knew they were inviting me to a meeting. Now it's a Zoom call. Okay. But I knew they were inviting me to the Sheraton Hotel.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For 6 p.m. discussion about about multiple streams of income.
Right.
If you stop me, I remember a guy in Barnes and Nobles. I'm holding a Tony Robbins book or something.
Okay.
It's like, oh, would you recommend this book? Is that a good book? I'm like, dude, it's Tony Robbins. Like, don't tell me you've never heard that, you don't know the book that I'm holding, or you don't know anything about the book in my hands.
Right.
But I knew the setup was coming. It's like, oh, are you an attorney? I was in a suit and tie or something. No, I'm not an attorney, but what do you want?
Right, exactly. No, but I'm an investigative reporter. What do you want?
Yeah, but what do you want? I know you want. Yes, I know you want me at the meeting, right? Ray Kroc, franchising. And again,
there you go.
I'm not knocking any of that, because there are tremendous millionaires. Right. I've been at rallies where they're chanting, right? Diamond, double diamond, eagle.
Right.
I was at an Amway rally at 14.
Okay.
So I get it. I'm not knocking that.
Well, the good news is that place does exist for the right people.
That is correct. And I have friends with different biz ops and different things. Right. And they're like, oh, Cory, you should do this, you should do that. Oh, you need to be an Airbnb. No, we need to do this. I said, step one, I'm not interested in that.
Right.
And that's going to make me ineffective.
Right.
Could I find some way to make money at it or have a score or something? Maybe, but I'm just not interested in it.
Yeah.
And what I find what's crazy to me is people can't handle sometimes you not being interested in the thing that that is their path.
Right.
Right. Like I don't, I'm not, you want to do bearer bonds as your deal, or crypto or whatever, knock yourself out, but don't, because I'm not interested. Oh, you're missing you're going to regret this later. I don't, maybe not.
Well, they're applying their logic to your situation.
Yeah. And
it's not everything's for everybody.
It's interesting. Nonetheless.
And I think that we can bring this back around to
mental toughness.
To mental toughness.
Tie it all together, LG.
By saying this, you have to be strong enough mentally to be able to say no to the things that aren't for you.
Yes. That's important. I guess I refer to him as a mentor because, he was a mentor, and he's many, many years my senior. So that's another mentorship opportunity. But a guy named Jim Ziegler, member of the National Speakers Association, well-known, well-regarded titan in the auto industry. Also, he said something for a number of years that I borrowed from him. I use it to this day, which is beware of distractions disguised as opportunities.
Yeah, well, very well said. Yes.
Yeah, that's. I don't know if he was the originator, but I give him credit for it, and that's a powerful deal, because particularly from the entrepreneurship and small business owner perspective, there's no shortage of ideas.
No, that's true.
Right out there are different lanes to go in, or we could do this. And I mean, any real entrepreneur suffers from, has to check themselves.
Right.
I have 20 ideas a day.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, now you have to have a system. Right now, I have an idea. I write it down. I talk about it with a few people. I quote unquote marinate on it.
Right.
I see if it holds up through some scrutiny. Right. If it holds up through my initial excitement.
Right.
Going away, and if it shows up a few days later as a practical thing, and then we execute on it.
Right.
So all right, I want to get into this because as usual we try to make this. We obviously add our color commentary. But we want you to have practical takeaways. So I want to talk about mental toughness and developing an unshakable mental toughness and some steps for doing that. we're gonna hop through 7. We're gonna get through 7. I'm looking at the clock.
This might be a 2-step. This might be a 2
Is this gonna be? Is this gonna be a 2-episode deal?
Yeah.
Maybe we should do it that way. Maybe, yeah. Okay, because I don't want to.
We'll get to 3. Figure out where we are.
I like that.
And then if we can do 4, we will. If not, we'll come back and do 4 through 7.
This is good. See, this is the voice of. We need to start calling LG. He's LG. He's LG 007. He's Lon Graham. He's also going to be called the voice of reason. And I want you to make that a thing, the voice of reason. We're going to call him that. All right, folks. Well, you heard it here. We're going to probably end up doing this as a 2-parter. We just came off of a 2-parter.
Right.
So it makes a lot of sense because I want to get the information. But all right. So with the time we do have, let's get at least to number 1. Let's get at least number 1.
Right.
All right. So number 1. So now I want to set the stage here that we're going to do a combination.
Okay.
So we're going to have a combination of things that are practical.
Okay.
And some things that you might find woo-woo-ish.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And don't discount those things, right?
Oh no.
It's just like breathing. People talk about breathing exercises and people go, I don't need to do that. Get yourself in a tough spot. Have an anxiety attack one day and see how much you need breathing.
Let's see how important it is.
Right. Be in the restroom under a little abdominal stress. Right. That's a nice way of saying it. Be on some discomfort, experience some discomfort in the restroom and determine how effective breathing is for you to get through a process, right? That you need to get through. So some of it, but my hard edgers, my hard alpha male and females, I don't do the woo-woo stuff. Number 1 is mindfulness.
Okay.
Is the idea of practicing mindfulness. So, people can, of course, might put that in the woo-woo category. But it's very important because obviously we're talking about the practice of being present and aware, thoughts and emotions and the things that go along with that. And that's very important because ultimately that's a manager of stress.
Yes. Right.
And that aspect of self-awareness. So staying calm under pressure.
Right.
I mean, you probably got one. This is your wheelhouse. Right? This is your wheelhouse right here. Because we'll be in meetings or we'll be in situations where I'm clearly animated.
You were excited,
to say the least. And then I'm looking for you to turn up, as the young people say. I'm looking for you to turn up in there, but you're just steady. Is that mindfulness? Is that something? Well, what do you? How do you practice mindfulness?
Well, I think And I don't know where, so I truly don't know what all 7 are going to be. So I'm going to I'm going to introduce this concept now.
Yeah. And I love that, by the way. That's what I really love.
And I call it mental nutrition. And what that is how do you feed your mind? Because here's what it is. When you feed your mind, what you feed your mind fuels what you think fuels what you say, and what you say fuels what you do. And so just, in some ways it's like what you feed your body is where you get your energy from, right? And if you feed your body sugar, you're going to have terrible energy. If you feed your body a healthy diet on a regular basis, you're going to have good energy. Well, if you feed your mind junk, you're going to have junk thoughts and you're going to say junk things and you do junk stuff.
Right.
So what are you reading? What are you doing? And so mindfulness for me starts every morning. I sit down with a cup of coffee and take about 15 minutes and think about what I'm trying to accomplish for the day. I have a quarterly journal that I use each day. It has a motivational quote. And the thing about these quarterly journals is every quarter, it's the same quote about every 3 months. But the reality of it is that just like you have to continue to feed your body to have energy, you have to continue to feed your mind with positive thoughts, to have good thoughts and to be able to deal with mindfulness. And so what I mean by that, and I'll bring it all together, is how do you prepare yourself to think about things when they are challenging, to think about things when they are moving quickly? When things get excited around you, are you going to get excited too? Or are you trying to process it?
Yeah.
And I know some people, I'll talk to people that will start to solve problems that don't exist. Well, what if this happens? And what if this happens? And what if next week?
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah.
I do it too. So I think getting back to mindfulness is, what are you dealing with right now? And what can you do about it right now that's going to have a positive impact on what you do in the future? And so you can call it woo-woo if you want, but it's really the only thing you can impact is right now.
That's right.
And so thinking about where you are and what you're trying to accomplish is bringing all that mindfulness together. And it's how do you prepare for that moment?
Yeah. And I think I think those are all excellent points. So thank you for that. Because that's new information. I didn't know. I know that you're constantly very even keel in a state of calm. I don't really know what I actually don't know. I mean, I've known you for a number of years and we've worked together for some time now. I don't know what an angry Lon looks like.
Not good.
So now, yeah. So I'm wondering, so is it, cause I'm like a 0 or a 100.
Right.
When it comes to being like angry.
Right.
And very few people, if I go back in 20 years of working for myself and employing people, I can think of a handful of moments when I've really lost it.
Right.
Like really lost it.
Right.
And it's fair, where people were almost like, who is that?
Right.
You know, like people
Right.
wanted to fight me. Like,
Right.
you know, it's well known for people who know me that I like to, and save your emails. But I like to be around people who I know already. Like I want people working for my organization or with my organization, whatever you want to call it, whatever dynamic, but working for me in some capacity that I know.
Right.
That's just more comfortable to me. I mean, very natural, but more comfortably. So like, I remember, and this is 20 years ago, like I just went off in my office was in New Jersey. I was in New Jersey and I just went off because just people weren't doing their job.
Right.
And again, all the pressure's on, the buck stops with me. Right.
Right.
And I just went off and like, one of my friends today, like was like, I thought I was going to have to, you know, stomp you out. And he would clearly win in the fight more than likely, unless I had some objects to available to me. Right. But like, he's like, I thought it was gonna stop me out. Like, your demeanor and how you spoke to everybody was just kind of off the charts, and that's very rare for me. But the interesting thing, another thing I love about what you said, no one's perfect.
Oh no. So
even as we talk about mistakes or things that people make, we're all fallible.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's something I want to make very clear in our podcast message.
Right.
Is some of the things that we're talking about because we've already messed them up. We've already blown these situations or been in these situations. And now obviously want to save some people from that. Right. But by no means are the things that we're talking about, nobody here is above reproach. We all got something going on, right?
Most of my advice is standing firmly on the ground in front of a mirror.
Right.
I mean, it's a reminder.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the journal. Is there one that you recommend?
I used, for a couple of years I used, and here's, I'm going to take a step back. Yeah. Here's really where the details about how you think, find things that align with how you think about things that make sense to you. So I used, and nobody's paying us to be here right now yet. Right. But if Michael Hyatt wants to start writing a check, it's good because I used his full focus.
Free to focus or full
focus?
I
used that for 3 years. Where I ran into, I kept trying, and I like it a lot. Mm-hmm. Where the reason I stopped using it is because he used a Monday to Sunday model. And I was looking for a Sunday to Saturday model because I plan my weeks on Sunday.
Interesting. That's interesting.
And it's a very small detail.
Right.
But it's how do you think about what's your normal work? So going back to what's your normal workflow? What's your lane? What are you doing? How do things make sense for you? And so I went to it's the Best Self Planner, and I've been using that for about 18 months. And it's the same concept. It's a quarterly planner. The nice thing is you can sit down at the beginning of the quarter and say, here's what I want to accomplish. You do it at the beginning of the year. You can check each quarter. It kind of gives you a regular updates. And I do, but the reason I like Sunday to Saturday is I do plan my week on Sundays. And Saturday mornings before I do anything, I get up and have a cup of coffee and check off what did I do, what I was trying to accomplish, and what do I move to next week? And
I like that.
So it's, but something regular. And again, it's how do you process information? And I've learned that now that I don't get in a car every morning, because for 20 years I was an outside salesperson. I got in a car every morning and I spent 30 to 45 minutes in the car. And that was my mental prep. Right. When I stopped doing that, I had to figure out a new way to do it. And now that's how I do it is, first thing in the morning, 15 minutes, cup of coffee, coffee's ready, sit down with the journal, and I go get ready for work. No, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Michael Hyatt, that's one. The one we sent, I was looking, it gave me also time to look up what we send. What we send the clients is is by Intelligent Change. Okay. So we'll have a link, obviously down there for Amazon affiliation, of course. Intelligent Link, it's a 5-minute gratitude journal. Okay. So it gives you, there is a quote there, but you prioritize. And
this is a great example. Right. I couldn't remember who it was by.
Right.
I have one. I use it.
Right.
I don't do it every day like I should.
Right.
It's something that I have to be mindful to continue to do.
Right.
But it gives you a great opportunity to manifest some things, to highlight some things you know that you want to see happen, and then reflect. So there's a morning and an evening component to it. So it's a pretty interesting one. It's been very popular. So definitely recommend either one of those.
And whatever one you get one.
Yes.
Get something that's going to allow you to organize your thoughts and consistently keep track of them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right, number 2. Yeah, you weren't kidding. We're gonna get to
no,
we're gonna get to 2. We're gonna get to 2. Yeah. All right. Number 2. Number 2. Set clear goals.
Yes.
So, and in here I'm talking about SMART.
Okay.
I didn't make this up. Right.
Right.
I just like.
I have heard before.
I just like it.
Good.
Yeah, I just like it. Specific, measurable,
right,
achievable, relevant,
right,
and time bound.
Yeah.
Because all too often, it's I can't remember. I don't want to mess it up. I'll take a shot at it, but Tony Robbins talks about people overestimate what they can do in a month and underestimate what they can do in a year.
Right.
Right. So people,
like that, right.
Yeah. So they think they can get it. Basically, you think you can get it. You've got 22 things you think you're going to get done in 30 days.
Right.
And don't realize how much you could really get done, over 365 days.
Right.
Because we're in this speed driven, and speed is great if I'm at the checkout line.
Right.
Or I'm at the, at the window or whatever.
Right.
Not so much when I'm trying to achieve large goals. Because who doesn't want it to come tomorrow? I'd love for a lot of things I'd love to happen tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's some goals that we might have together that we'd love if they happen tomorrow.
Correct.
We'd love if all the big deals that we had in the pipeline all closed tomorrow, and they wired funds.
Right. Right. Close tomorrow, 10x of what we expect.
Right. Listen, let them close for what we're asking.
Right.
Let them all close tomorrow for what we're asking, and wire funds. Right. That's the key. It's that thing at the end. Right.
Exactly right.
And wire funds. Right.
Yes, and.
See now, Willie, that's when you got to drop the new one. Woo! When the church say amen.
There you go. Right. That's good. That one's going to get a lot of play.
Willie H over there killing it.
It's going to get a lot of play.
I like it.
Well done.
All right. So set clear goals, right? Now, again, this is essential. Setting goals is not a new conversation for people, but possibly tying it to the impact of mental toughness.
Right.
And correlating those two together. Because people will set goals to set goals.
Right.
Not for the purposes of their mental health, not for the purposes of even achieving them. Because, we watched The Secret, and then we were told, if I wish for a Lambo.
Okay.
Or Lamborghini for us that need to spell out. If I wished for a Lambo.
Okay.
That a Lambo will manifest itself because I set my vibration level to vibrate a Euros, which is my dream truck.
Okay.
Shout out to my buddy Jason, who has 2 of them apparently
now. Okay.
And he deserves it because he works very hard. I'll have to send this clip to him. He loves it when I mention him in the clips on the podcast.
Absolutely.
But if you just manifest it,
right,
and we put it on a dream board, what's the thing? A vision board.
A vision board, right.
And I'm not knocking any of that. I have a vision board at my home.
100%.
It's the extra part though, right?
Right. It's the action.
Yeah. Bishop T.D. Jakes says, don't blame God for God doesn't make the table. He makes the trees.
Right. Exactly. Right. I heard that. Well said. Right.
Oh Lord, just send me some X. Right. Well, no, I'm giving you vehicles to go about creating what it is that you want.
Right.
So the intention of the goal, right, has to be there, and using the idea of setting the goal, creating measurements, creating achievable results,
right,
and using that SMART piece. Go ahead, your thoughts on that.
And specific, I'm going to tie in one into, we talked about the journal, one of the things, or the planner, one of the things that does, I say, I write to remember so I don't have to. And my point is it does 2 things for me. Writing down my goals, and I have the vision board and all that, and it's all valuable because it acts like your North Star, right? It gives you guidance on what direction to go.
Particularly when things are not going the way you want them to go.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But the writing down piece of it does two things for you. One, it frees up your mind to be able to think of ways to accomplish it because you don't have to keep remembering that goal. You can go back and refer to it, and now you can think about ways to execute on it.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing writing does for me, and I have a little tablet and a pen right next to my bed on the nightstand, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night. If I think of an idea, I write it down so I can go back to sleep.
Right.
I'm not trying to stay up all night remembering it until I get up in the morning.
Right.
But writing these things down also allows you to organize them and prioritize them. So when you set goals and you use the SMART profile, what writing those things down does is it allows you to prioritize and organize them in a way that you can say, okay, here's where I'm making decisions.
Right.
And these are the things I need to do to get to the next level.
Yeah, no, I love that. Willie H sent over a Thomas Jefferson quote.
Oh, goodness.
Which I'm indifferent about.
But he's, for
a variety of reasons.
Yeah, but he's 45 miles up the road,
Nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal. Nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude.
That's 100% true.
Yeah.
100% true.
Whenever I post something about Thomas Jefferson, somebody inevitably reminds me of a few things. But but the quote,
right.
Let's just say it was anonymous. Let's not dilute the value of the quote based on what our personal opinions may be about Thomas Jefferson. So, but great quote. Thank you, William, for sending that over.
Thank you.
All right, so we talked about goals, and let's get to the third one, and then we're just under the gun with some time constraints right now. And we can go on, and we'll have plenty of time.
We'll make more time for part two.
Look, double time.
Right.
Strap in. We're going full Joe Rogan on part two. 3 hours.
There you go. Shout out to Joe Rogan.
Yeah, shout out to Joe Rogan. Number 3, embrace failure. Failure is inevitable in entrepreneurship for most of us. I know a few people who whatever they touch turn to gold, but that's not the case for most of us.
Right.
And again, this falls under can fall under a little woo-woo, right? Rather than fearing failure, embraces an opportunity to learn and grow.
Right.
That can sound soft.
Right.
But the real fact is we have no choice you have no choice but to deal with it.
Right.
I mean, you have some other choices, but of course we don't want that to be the way anybody deals with their problems by, not being here or anything like that.
Right.
But you're going to have to deal with those setbacks. Right. So you've got two choices. Right? To dwell on the issue or to determine what John Maxwell calls it, of course, failing forward.
Right.
And learning from those opportunities. But here's another. So the statement I want to make here is not new information for you. What's new? Because I'm sure our listeners have been told you gotta, make lemons out of lemonade. We've been told variations of this.
Right.
What I'm impressing upon everyone is the intentionality. Shout out to Dominique Milton.
There you go.
The intentionality, because we get that from her. If you're not checking out, it's a great show, Intentionality. You should look it up. Is the intentionality of dealing with a setback.
Right.
My friend Walter Bond says, you're entitled to a pity party, but you got to have the pity party and then move on.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And look, this. We don't have the time to get into the philosophical debate about failure or not failure. But I look at it as this. I look at it as nobody failed or nobody messed up not trying.
Right.
Give yourself credit for the effort.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that I learned, and this is something that I teach in my leadership talks, is give yourself credit for what you did well.
Yep.
And learn from what you could do better. And I call it the like and learn, right? What did you like about what you did and what did you learn from it?
Right.
And so I put that, I just take failure off the table. If there's something that happens, you can do one of two things. You can either do something about it or you can deal with it.
Right.
And so, but I think that one of the things that we end up doing is, and this is, where I take the failure off the table, is it's really not about failure. It's about the effort. And we'll, if you want to use another president's quote, because we want to change Thomas Jefferson, let's go to Teddy Roosevelt, the man in the arena, right?
Yeah.
You're the person in the arena, which means that you are trying to do something. You're trying to accomplish something.
Right.
You're not sitting in the bleachers. So every time you do something, this goes back to journaling too. And I do this as part of my journaling process to get better for me. But every time you did something, there's something that you could like about it that you want to keep doing. And there's something that you can learn from it that you can do better next time.
Right.
And instead of looking at it as failure, win, loss, whatever, this is the game of life. And if you're the man in the arena, keep trying, but figure out what you like, then you want to keep doing, and then figure out what you learn so that you can do it better next time.
Right.
And apply that, and you will continue to make progress and you will continue to grow. And getting back to the topic that we started with, which is mental toughness, you want to be tough, give yourself credit for doing.
Yeah.
And then keep trying to do better.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we Lord willing, we'll have plenty of time to cover some of these examples.
Right. Right.
of individual situations, scenarios. There are a number of ideas buried in the graveyard.
100%.
From things that, just didn't work.
Right.
Didn't work the way I wanted them to, didn't work the way I thought. And mental toughness is also having an idea, you not being able to execute it, and then seeing somebody else do something that you had the idea for.
Right.
You want to really mess with your head.
Right.
There are ideas, particularly in the auto industry, where we had a lot of great, just a lot of, I couldn't do everything. We didn't have the money to do everything.
Right.
But there were just really some great ideas that my team had, that I came up with, that my team came up with, that we just weren't in a position to execute on.
Right.
And then we saw other people go on and execute.
Right.
I said, wait, they're doing what?
Right.
They're doing, and I've seen this with clients. I mean, I've also seen this with clients in these areas. But and where I've gone to a client and said, man, did you see this? So and so's doing it. Now they got $12 million in seed round,
right.
in seed funds, which. No knock to that. I've had investors. I've worked with investors in our businesses. That's just so you can go fast,
right?
Like because again, there's so much myth busting that needs to take place here in terms of how something needs to be done. Does everything need to be bootstrapped? Not bootstrapped. Do it on your own. I'm self-made. No one's self-made. But all these different nuances there. But that's another element of mental toughness is potentially seeing people execute on some things that you couldn't execute on.
Right.
Now, two options, right? Pull the covers over your head, close the shades, and again, and stay like that. Or you go, okay, great. What did I do wrong? How would I do it differently? With every new attempt, what do you do? What do you learn from it?
Right.
And it's easy for for us to say that intellectually,
right?
But it's another for us to execute on.
Yeah.
All right. We have to leave it here today. Because we're we're a little short on time today. But we got the ball rolling, and through the wisdom of LG 007, through the wisdom where you know a couple things now. We hopefully have put you on the path. You know the first three.
Right.
But more importantly, you know that next week, 4 more are coming.
That's right.
We're
going to make sure
because we've got the content ready.
We're going to budget more time.
Yeah, we're going to make sure we have the time,
get that fourth one
and
in.
we've got the content.
100%.
And what that does is it encourages you to come back.
Right.
It's like a little cliffhanger.
That's right.
Right. It's like leaving the voicemail without telling you what I'm calling about.
Exactly.
Hey, it's Cory calling you from X. Give me a call back at your earliest convenience. I've got some exciting information to tell you. You don't need to know what I'm trying to do. Right. It's like setting the date and then hanging up the phone.
Right.
Right. Tell people in dating, you use the phone to set the date, not to fall in love.
Right.
You sell in person.
100%.
Right. When you can.
Get the
right?
appointment.
Yeah. You get the appointment.
And
then you move from there.
And then you can start
I feel some relationship shows coming. Grow. Right. We got to find grow there.
Right,
we'll just put if they're on YouTube, we'll cover it. Look, Willie, we'll cover the business part and just grow. And we can talk about anything that we want here.
Right.
I see it on the horizon.
Right.
But listen, we want to thank you for joining us. We want to give you the opportunity. If you enjoy what's happening, we love for you to like, we love for you to share. And we love to get your feedback as long as it's good. If it's got bad feedback, just throw it away. We don't want to know about it. But we also want to know more about the topics that you're interested in. So if you're following us on YouTube and watching on YouTube, throw us a like, throw us a follow. We're, everywhere you can get podcasts, Google Play. I think we're at iHeart now. Of course, Apple. So we just encourage you to, keep supporting what we're doing. We want to do a lot of these as long as we're making a difference. And I feel like we're making a difference, and we're keeping it upbeat. Entrepreneurship in business is a serious thing, but no one can be serious all the time. And and we believe that there's an educational and entertaining way to attack that. And not talk in circles.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what we're hoping to achieve, and we hope we're achieving that, and we hope we will see you on part 2. Lon, I'll give you the last word.
I just say, look, give yourself credit. Mental toughness is make sure you give yourself credit, right? Give yourself credit for the work that you're doing. And so, come back and see us next time. We'll look forward to finishing this one up and a lot more to come. So thank you, Cory. It was fun.
As always, take us out, Willie.